Hi everyone, it's Brittany and welcome to One Hot Mess. Alright guys, today we're going to continue reading the self-discovery book, and we are at Energenetics. People talk about genetics and your DNA. These are biological, and while they are not of sole importance, they are still important because they inform your physical attributes and capabilities. There is, however, something that is a bit more important to understand, what we call energenetics. Energenetics are genetic traits of energy passed down through families and cultures. It is what you would call your inherited human energy system. It is distinctly related to physical illness and body types. It is not the sole reason for these things, for there are soul blueprints and manifestation properties that were required before you came into form. We would liken energenetics to a form of energy genes. Really, they are just patterning. You have chosen your parents because they match a certain energy, frequency, and karmic opportunity that your soul needs to resolve or learn and experience. This human lineage provides an opportunity for your soul or spirit to grow, expand, and become wiser. These human beings are not actually your relatives. That's a human term. You are no more related to them than a Ford Mustang is related to a Ford LTD. They are simply cars having an experience in a car world. You are simply incarnated as a human being having a human experience. By human standards, you are related genetically to the people who precede you in your human bloodline. But you must remember that you are not human. You are actually a divine being incarnated in human form. Your divine nature is who you really are. Your real connection to these human beings that you call family or ancestors is at a soul or spiritual level. But because you still believe that you are human, you see them as your family. Your family is far greater than this. It is the other individuals, souls, or spirits that are actually part of your family. Before you get upset, this is not to say that you do not love your human family or that the people around you and the people that you have been with for your life are not ones that you love or care for, or people you don't like. The concept we are presenting about energenetics being a type of energy genetic inheritance at your human level is far from anything most people will ever talk about. As we said, if something is a stretch for you, simply listen to it, allow it to go, and use the information that relates to your life. Please do not disavow this information simply because we present concepts that might be a bit out there for you. Perceiving these individuals as your family has several effects. First, it allows you to perceive that all other human beings are separate and not your relatives. Second, it makes you believe that you are a human being when in fact you are a spirit in human form. Third, it makes you believe that genetics or physical makeup are the cause of your illnesses. This is only partly true. The fact is that if you change your beliefs and awaken your consciousness, you will change your energetic structure. You could possibly begin to look different, and your genes would actually begin to change. Because of your family's belief systems, there have been energetic distortions, blockages, and corruptions that have caused appearances and illnesses common to your human family's bloodline. Each bloodline has its own particular energetic distortions. When bloodlines merge, they combine these distortions. These things that appear to be genetic are energetic at their core. After hundreds of years of a bloodline being the way it is, it has created an extremely powerful energy field or vortex. Every child who enters this field or bloodline is surrounded by and partially governed by this vortex. Without consciousness, they are totally governed by it. Other governing factors that relate to your energenetics are your extended family, cultural families, and the human family in its entirety. Their energy fields are the governing forces for the mental, physical, and emotional structure of each child born into the bloodline. We use the word bloodline because it is a human difficulty, not a spiritual difficulty. Spiritual lessons and karmic resolutions can energetically reinforce or change genetic factors. If a member of the bloodline alters their emotional and energetic properties greatly, they also alter the spiritual frequency and the energetics of that bloodline, therefore altering the genetic chemical properties of the future. This includes whatever we experience as children. When we pick up 100% of our environment, we are psychic sponges. Our energy field pick up and feel all energy and frequencies, spoken or unspoken, seen or unseen. Children then act out based on the energy patterns they have assimilated, either consciously or unconsciously. They think of their parents as gods, and how could gods ever be wrong? They assume that everything they consciously and unconsciously assimilate is true, forming a belief of this truth. Beliefs come from and are influenced by the energy of karma or previous soul experiences from the parents or family of origin, and the spoken and unspoken energy of anyone close to or assumed to be an authority. Again, young children are sponges, and the facets of life are pouring all their information and patterning into the sponge. The child then assumes this stuff is theirs or is an identity, who they are. Children start receiving this information in the womb prior to their ability to speak or discern what is happening. It becomes an assumed truth that they base on their lives without question. Children feel the screaming, the nastiness, the doubt, the kindness, the friendliness, the anger. All this energy is experienced on multiple levels. More detailed information about frequency, energy, and feeling psychic things that occur in your environment is discussed in a later chapter. The sensate body, this concept plays a very important part in your life, which we will discuss as we move forward. By examining the energetic family tree, one can know its history and patterns, and if they choose, one can alter or change that energetic gene pool, thereby changing what future generations will experience. To change your energetic family tree, keep a log of your negative or limiting thoughts. You want to learn and identify negative self-talk to know where to begin to make changes. And even though we speak of these being energetic in their nature, it's quite simple to change all of these things through consciousness. By consciousness, we mean not just being aware of them, but being aware of how and why the world works the way it does, then making conscious choices to be something different. There is a basis for the information about energy and frequency within the context of quantum physics. At this point, we would like to also introduce the idea that which makes up an energetic pattern is the frequency. The frequency is the vibration that creates or maintains the energetic patterning. These frequencies also allow for the type of consciousness that is in your energetic line. This consciousness is not set in stone as far as the potential of each individual, but it is the basic operating system that you receive when you are born into any given bloodline. In the future, there will be children born at a higher frequency who will already be beyond the level of consciousness of their earth parents or genetic line. This, however, does not eliminate the fact that they will retain many of the family patternings and behaviors until they become more aware. For now, this is part of the human growth process. Family patterning and dynamics. There are a few levels to family patterning and dynamics. 1, they are energetic in nature. 2, they are behavioral in nature. 3, they are habitual in nature. 4, they are usually unconscious in nature. If you have read the section on energenetics, you know that patterning is created in an energy field or frequency fashion Each human being has an energy field about them, but it is actually more than that. Within this energy field are patterns that were passed on from your parents and your parents' parents and your parents' parents' parents, etc. These energetic patternings are energetic and are similar to the genes in your DNA, except they are invisible. This energetic patterning is passed on simply through assimilation because you are within the energy fields of these people from birth onward. It is a type of inherited patterning. In these energenetics, there are certain frequencies. These frequencies are relative to certain human behaviors, thought processes, and levels of consciousness. We will discuss levels of consciousness in our chapter EFI, which stands for Energetic Fields of Influence, in Book 2 of this series. These energetic fields influence the energetic pattern within an individual and allow them to access certain levels of consciousness and ways of thinking. The energetic patterning that comes from your human family is now directly related to your unconscious thought and behaviors. Your awareness through the unconscious part of your mind will access these frequencies and use them as tools in your human world and social life. This is not the only place you get these behaviors, beliefs, your own thoughts, your own assumed truths, and your experiences add to your behaviors, and these are added to by your perceptions and the way you process them. In other words, what you have experienced, perceived, and processed, you now perceive through some sort of filter. These filters are basically judgments that you have established from your experiences, whether conscious or unconscious. These filters redistort your perceptions based upon entire belief systems. Most people cannot see the world clearly because they are viewing it through their own distorted perceptions built on the foundation of family patterning. And we can all agree that most human beings are dysfunctional. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a fact. Most human beings have dysfunctional pattern and distorted filters. If you do not agree, I understand. Please attempt to accept this as a concept, not as absolute. Behavioral energetic patterning shows up in your internal and external behaviors. Internal patterns run unseen in the mind or the emotions. External patterns are those that you display to the world. They're how the world sees you. These behaviors show up because of the energetic patterning and the unconscious programming of your belief system. When one is not conscious or at a higher level, one unconsciously accesses the patternings from one energetic system and belief system, then uses these to interact with the world, both socially and for one's own personal gain. Behavioral patterns are displayed by parents or surrounding family to children. Therefore, through visual observation, energetic patterning, and intuitively or physically assimilating this information, the child mimics them, repeating family patternings and dynamics. Now, let's define human dynamics. This is a system of behaviors and psychological processes that occur between people or within social groups. When you understand dynamics and patterning, you will also be able to understand why people do what they do. Again, be cautious that you are not interpreting through your own filters, which are most likely distorted themselves. It is easy to believe that you see something that's not there. This occurs based upon your own unconscious belief system. Unconscious patterning refers to two things: patterns you have picked up unconsciously as a young child, and patterns you are not aware of and that you believe are who you are. They have become identities. You can no longer discern whether they are really yours or not. Unconscious patterning is directly related to autopilot. It is where a person accesses automatically without consciousness the energetic patterning and the unconscious belief systems that are always tied into emotional belief systems. They make choices and decisions that seem logical or reasonable to them, but may not to the outer world. Other people with similar patterns may see them as logical and reasonable. The phrase birds of a feather flock together simply means that those with similar energetic patternings and belief systems bond and support each other. We did not mention conscious patterning in the beginning of this section because it does not really exist. When one is fully conscious and awakened, they will not use patterns. They will create life through conscious choices and decisions, even though they may use similar human skills and behaviors to accomplish these choices. We'll talk more about patternings and how they appear in your everyday life, what to do with them, and how to change them in the next chapter. The developing person. The sensate body is a field around the human form that is tuned to pick up feelings and sense vibrations and frequencies in the physical and non-physical world. You might be wondering why we are speaking about the sensate body. The sensate body is of the utmost importance because from the time you leave the womb and begin your human journey, your sensate body is with you, registering everything in your environment and logging it into your subconscious or unconscious. This information is used in future experiences to define and understand your human environment. The sensate body is one of the main reasons that children are psychic sponges. They feel and sense, then register all the information in their environment. Everything in the universe is a vibrational frequency, and your sensate body registers, feels, and senses these vibrational frequencies. Children interpret these senses through the patterned behaviors and belief systems they have acquired from their family of origin. It's extremely important to understand how and why the sensate body works, because as an adult, you respond to things and have no idea why. Part of this is due to beliefs and patterning, but it's also partly because something is triggered in your sensate body. Your brain goes through its subconscious, conscious, and unconscious files to determine what these feelings mean and then acts upon them. But you're often acting upon a childhood interpretation when a less evolved consciousness interpreted and logged those experiences, thereby creating unnecessary challenges in your adult life. Understanding this means understanding yourself and beginning to understand others, maybe even your partner or children. Some have referred to the sensate body as the emotional body. We have changed it for clarity and to avoid some misinterpretations. It's more about sensing things than emotions. Sensing is the feeling of vibrational frequencies. Emotions are responses determined by belief systems. Emotions stem from a judgmental viewpoint. Vibrational senses are neutral. One can have a vibrational feeling, then make an emotional judgment, and thereby have emotions based on those vibrational feelings, but this would no longer be the neutral space of the sensate body. The sensate body itself is a neutral experience. It's a field around the human form that is tuned like an antenna, picking up feelings and sensing all the frequencies in the physical and non-physical world. It's up to you to determine what those vibrational frequencies mean to you, something that's subjective and not necessarily factual. Although you may find many individuals interpreting vibrational frequencies the same way, this does not make the interpretation accurate. The sensate body is wired into all of your senses and is their source. Every sensation of the physical body, whether visual or some other sensation, stimulates and is registered by the sensate body. It allows you to be aware of the physical world. For each individual, one sense is more prominent than the others. Those prominent senses make you aware that you are alive. The need to feel alive may become addictive to the point that you may seek stimulation of that sense in order to become aware of the you think you are. At the same time, these senses create a greater awareness of your physical world. They allow you to be aware of your environment and experiences, from emotions to actual senses. The sensate body does include your emotions. For some people, stimulating the sensate body is a pleasurable experience. Others find it painful. Those who see it as pleasurable enjoy more sensual experiences. Notice that we say sensual, not sexual. Sexual experiences do not stimulate the sensate body, but they concern the senses. Therefore, they are sensual. Feelings of pleasure may or may not turn into the sex act. Emotions do evoke certain feelings that can be seen as pleasurable or painful. Emotions are based upon belief systems. They are sensate body reactions to belief system perceptions. When these reactions take place, they evoke or stimulate certain memories or vibrational feelings in the body. Each emotion is a vibrational frequency on its own and thereby carries its own sensate feeling. This is coupled with your ability to interpret those sensate feelings in a clear and appropriate fashion. Those who see emotions as a pleasurable experience and a way to navigate their world focus on sensual and emotional feelings. Those who see emotions as painful retreat into the mind and cut off the sensate body. In our male/female metaphor, they move into the mind, which is male in nature, and turn off feelings, which are female in nature. They become a bit more disconnected from their inner self and their emotional feelings. This is a defense mechanism to avoid the pain that they perceive. Those who become primarily focused on the sensate body tend to shut off the mind and live purely by feeling or intuition. These people, in the mother/father metaphor, shut off the male and turn on a heightened female experience. They turn off the mind and live by their heart. The decision to place more value on the mind or heart comes from experiences or soul memory. These experiences, patternings, and belief systems determine which system you prefer. Based upon these belief systems and patterns, you have decided what pain is, how it is caused, and how to best avoid it. The problem with both methods is that we require a balance between the head and the heart to live a fully awakened, conscious life. Those who prefer using the mind to avoid feelings try to deal with everything mentally and control things with the linear mind. They attempt to negate feelings and justify everything, but we justify everything through belief systems and patternings, and blocking any sense of feeling to avoid perceived pain is like trying to hold toxins in your body because you are afraid of detox symptoms. On the other hand, those who maintain a major focus on the sensate body tend to be so out of balance with their mind that they cannot perform many duties or skills in the world. They see the mind as a danger or as an enemy because those around them have used theirs to abuse or manipulate. Each of these ways of being is based on distorted facts, yet both have become many people's realities, an autopilot system of choice to protect them from pain. A conscious human being must be in touch with both the mind and the heart. They must learn to bring them into balance by clearing and healing the pain of either. The challenge of the sensate body is to successfully interpret the vibrational frequencies that we feel. Your interpretation is based on patternings and belief systems as well as soul memory. Keep in mind that there is a 90% chance that your interpretive skills are either underdeveloped or inaccurate. Over time, as you change your belief systems and resolve old issues, you'll gain the ability to more accurately interpret these vibrational frequencies and see and feel life differently. Unfortunately, as you grow into this new understanding of the sensate body, your habit will be to return to the old files of your life and try to interpret what you are feeling. But the skills that you develop as you expand your awareness require that you re-examine each feeling and interpret it in the moment in which you are experiencing it without judgment before seeing how relative these frequencies are to your world. As you become more advanced in this, you will discover the same feelings of vibrational frequencies, but they will have different meanings. Your initial tendency will likely be to reject those feelings because they bring an old, subtle judgment. You must stand in a neutral space within yourself, observe these feelings, and determine what they mean in the now. Then respond appropriately to the vibrational frequency you are currently having. This is a very complex system, and it can be difficult to understand, especially while you are lost in your behavior patternings and belief systems. As you become clearer, it becomes easier to experience vibrational frequencies less judgmentally. This only comes when the head and the heart, or your male and female aspects, unite in one consciousness. We would like to note that all the information provided in this course is just information. This information was discovered through experience and an inner knowing, but it's up to you to decide with your own inner knowing if it rings true or not. All the information contained here has multiple variables based upon each individual's belief system. Although the information is common to all, there are slight variations for each individual. That's why it's important that you discern what resonates with you and what you can use in your own human experience. One more thing before we finish this section. Keep in mind that all this information is not to make you feel like you are a victim of the way the world works or the human experience. It is to teach you about how the energy of the world works in order for you to obtain inner freedom and become a conscious creator. It is about the true inner freedom that you create when you become aware of how and why the system works. All right, guys. Next time, we will start reading about body awareness. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. Please make sure to hit that follow button and share one hot mess with a friend. And I will talk to you guys next time. Have an amazing day.